Hey everyone, we're here with Timo and Yuka from Freedomination. You should check them out. So the new album is holy shit, it's like powerful. What
Yeah,
the
you think so?
yeah.
Amazing to
I
hear.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
we think it's pretty powerful too.
I think it starts out really strong with Sin Road and it just keeps rolling through everything. There's not a point where you're like, man, this sucks, right? You're just always like, holy shit, like how do they just keep the energy through the whole.
Awesome to hear.
What was like writing, when you guys sat down to write it, what was like the thoughts behind it and what was that process like?
Yeah, it's been a very, very long process. The band started in 2008, and we've been around for it's about 17 years, I guess. And this is our debut album. So there's been a lot of time to write a good album, and we've tried it a couple of times earlier. We've done two full-length records before this one, but they weren't released because I wasn't happy with the end results. But this one, I was very confident that this is gonna be good. This is gonna be heavy, and it's gonna sound great. We got everything done really nicely. We got a good production, and I think that the songs are, like you said, well, I agree. I think the songs are very strong on this one.
Absolutely. I mean, the musicianship throughout is fantastic and your voice, oh my God.
Thanks
Like,
so much.
oh, like holy shit, I wish I could sing like that. Oh my God.
That's really nice to hear. Thanks for the compliments.
So what song for you all really like stands out?
That's
Okay,
hard to pick one. You want to go first, Timo?
me, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite song is the title track "Until the Lights Go Out" because it's a little bit different and it's just got a really cool feel to it. I like everything about that song. I like all the songs, but that one probably is that's my favorite. Yeah, every song is good, but that one is my favorite song. Yeah.
I agree that every song is good.
Yeah, it's hard to say. For me, it's between probably Until the Lights Go Out and The Raven, because those are I mean, I know they're the slower songs. They're pretty heavy songs too, but they're kind of
Yeah.
slower, mid-tempo kind of stuff. As a drummer, those are just the most fun to play, I think, because there's a little bit of you get to jam out a little bit and do some nuanced things, so it's a little bit more fun.
Yeah. So the Raven for me, that
Oh, cool.
that one really stands out to me. I can't get the Raven speaks to me out of my head. It just keeps going. I'm like, God, that is such a like that line in itself is so fucking powerful. Man,
Thanks so much. And the Raven spoke. And what did he say? The Raven. Nevermore, of course. So it's a bit of a tribute to Nevermore at the same time.
hell yeah. That's cool. It's really cool when you can have these, little like shout outs to other things in the music.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit of intertextuality between other bands and literature and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, art everywhere is I think it inspires other arts, which is,
yes, it does.
Absolutely, yeah.
you know,
That's how it's supposed to go.
hell yeah. Hell yeah, it is, brother. So the album came out just under a month ago. It came out in February 26th. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
that's right.
Can't believe it's 3 weeks ago. That's wild. 2025. So what have you guys seen from like the response of the album?
It's been really positive. I mean, everything I've heard from anyone who's heard it has been everyone's liked it. Most people have liked the Raven and Until the Lights, and Sin Road has been getting a lot of compliments too. Yeah, it's been positive.
That's awesome to hear. And did you guys do a release show around it?
Yeah, a little after it was released, we played one venue in Vantaa, and we actually played the whole album from start to finish in the order of the songs. Then we played a couple of songs after that, but it was a fun, great night.
That's really cool. I like when bands do that, like play an album from start to finish. Damn, that's really cool. And I say that, of course, I assume that we're pretty comparable in age. Grew up in a time when the album as a whole was the art and it wasn't so like single focused. So
Yeah.
like to be able
Yeah.
to experience that in a live setting is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Metallica, I think they've been doing the Black album in reverse.
Yes, they did. I saw one of those shows.
What did you think of that?
It was cool. It was fun. Black Album is like It's not my favorite Metallica album, but it's got some really cool songs. Yeah, it was fun that they did the whole album. It was a fun night in Helsinki.
And a nice way to do it, right? Not in the like the traditional front to back. They're doing it backwards, which if you're an old Metallica fan, you're like, hold on, I gotta like think about the how the album actually tracks backwards.
Yeah, that's true, and it also kind of makes sense for the last songs to be Enter Sandman and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you want the whole crowd to wait until the hits get played, right?
Yeah,
Like that's what everyone wants. So, with the band being together so long, what was that? What was it like starting the band 17 years ago?
it was a little bit different time than what's happening now. We were a little bit younger and quite enthusiastic and excited to do music, but we were also a little less professional, I guess. But yeah, it was fun times, trying a lot of different things and just trying to play really fast and good and just going through that time of that kind of metal in Finland. I guess metal was maybe in a way a little more popular in Finland back when we started. There were a lot more like gig venues and these metal bars and all that stuff. It's been going a little bit down, but yeah, times has changed a little bit. Hard to come up with specific things.
Sure.
But
I mean, it was the band wasn't exactly the same. We had, I mean, me and Timo are the only original members of the. Well, actually, I'm not even one of the original members. We had a drummer for like a few months, or Timo had a drummer for about a few months before I joined in. But it's been a weird ride because I think I played for about 2 years before I joined the band. So what he said about not being very professional, yeah, I'm the guy who wasn't very professional.
That's funny. So, like, when you guys started playing as Free Domination, were there goals that you wanted to hit with the band, or was it more of a, hey, we're just gonna go and put together the best songs we can and have a great time?
yeah, I definitely wanted to see how far I could go with a metal band and wanted to make it into this really professional thing. But yeah, the main important thing was to come up with great songs and have them released in a way that they will sound as good as we can do them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because when you're inspired by like the bands that you're inspired by, like stuff like Megadeth and Annihilator and what have you, you kind of want to get to that same. You're striving for that same level, even if it's hard to be as good as them, but you want to anyway. So
I think it's
Yeah,
I think it's very different now, right? Like, of course, 15, 20 years ago, everyone strived to be as good, but like in like the last 10 years, the accessibility to learning how someone plays a certain way is so detailed where you don't even have to like read tab. You just have to watch a YouTube video.
that's
Like,
very true.
the level of musicianship I think has come a long way, especially in the last, 10 years watching these people. I'm going, holy shit. Even if I would have, been playing since I started, I wouldn't be near as good as some of these players are, you know?
well, yeah,
Yeah, and I
there's
agree. There's crazy good players. Some of these younger people there, they can play. They can really play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's a virtuoso around every corner. I mean, there's still standouts, you know. I mean, at least in the drumming world, it's like because I don't know anything about playing the guitar or the bass or but you still run into guys like Larnell Lewis who are kind of I don't know, he's like 40, 50 or something like that, and he's still kind of still kind of thought of as way higher level than most of the virtuosos.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's crazy to watch like those standout people. Like one of the guys that stands out to me is a bass player, Victor Wooten.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to hear him talk about like how he thinks about playing bass is like, you're an alien, dude. I don't know what's going on, but like, and he is so amazing when he picks that thing up. Just, like, holy
He's a wild
shit.
guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Who are some of those like early influences for you guys that made you go, holy shit, like I want to play drums or I want to sing or I want to play guitar or whatever?
Well, for me, it was probably I'd have to say, yeah, it was probably Nick Menza was a pretty big influence because I was a huge Megadeth fan back then, and also back then I was listening to a lot of Annihilator, so Ray Hartman and Mike Mancini were kind of, Mike Mancini especially because he was a kind of a technical god. I mean, he still is.
Yeah.
So he made a big influence. And then you listen to stuff like Fear Factory, and I think Raymond Herrera is still like one of the most underappreciated metal drummers out there ever. He made a big impact back then.
That's pretty awesome. I think there's a lot of players out there that don't get the recognition they deserve because there might be some of those people are so focused on a very specific style that when something different like Fear Factory comes out and they're playing, they're like, I don't know, they're afraid of it or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So what about you, Timo?
Yeah, guitar playing wise, there's been so many different influences throughout the years, outside of metal also, but because we are a metal band, definitely the same thing in the beginning. Megadeth was a big influence, especially Marty Friedman and Chris Poland, Dave Mustaine, of course, for songwriting and all that stuff. The Iron Maiden guys, Judas Priest guys, and Annihilator, yeah, Jeff Waters, similar things, similar bands me and my brother were listening to. And Yngwie Malmsteen, Nevermore, Jeff Loomis, just there's so many great guitar players that I was into and still am into. And singing Bruce Dickinson, of course, Rob Halford, the Armored Saint guy. Wait a
John
minute, how
Bush.
John Bush? Yeah, exactly, John Bush and Warrell Dane from Nevermore, and so many great singers. Mike Howe from Metal Church, and of course David Wayne. There's just Ray Alder from Page Warning. He really put a big influence on me. But yeah, there's so many.
Yeah. Yeah, like so John Bush is one of my like, he's one of my favorites because he's got a great voice and he
Yeah,
doesn't sound like anyone else. He has,
yeah,
doesn't matter what band is playing when he sings, you go, shit, that's John Bush.
that's
Oh yeah,
true.
he's just so good. I mean, it's the voice. I mean, he's technically really good, but the voice is just it's just there's something so rock and roll about that voice.
Yeah. And
He's
it's
so
like
rock and roll and metal.
there's one more with Jack Gibson.
Yeah, Jack Gibson, Exodus guy.
Yeah.
Sure. And
I've,
yeah, I just went to see Armored Saint for the first time live last late summer last year. I went to Amsterdam with a couple of friends and we went to see that show. And also China Bush when I was younger. I think Anthrax played in Helsinki in 2003 or 2002. And I was like 17, 18 years old. And that was a crazy good show. So yeah, yeah, China Bush all the way. Fucking
yeah.
great artist.
Yeah, I like Anthrax. I've been an Anthrax fan a long time, but the John Bush era is my favorite era of Anthrax. I think, it's so different from the other stuff. And again,
Yeah,
John Bush's voice is like holy shit, man.
Hell yeah,
yeah,
and we're some of the few people who agree. It's all about the Bush era for me too.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like persistence of time and all that stuff is great. But yeah, for me, Sound of White Noise is one of my favorites. And of course, because of being young when I got it was basically the first Anthrax album that was like brought new when I got into it was We Have Come for You All. So yeah, a lot of John Bush era for me for sure.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's so awesome. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go, John. Have you guys listened to Category 7 at all?
Yeah, I went through the album. Yeah, sure. It was a rocking ride. A lot of
Yeah.
really fast guitar solos.
Yeah. Like all those dudes, like the musicianship is just phenomenal. I run into like I go out and I'll run into Jack Gibson at a show sometimes and I'm like, "Hey dude, let me interview you. Like, let's chat. Let's." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Damn it. One day I'll get Jack." So what was like the first live show that you guys remember going to?
Shall
The
I
first
begin?
live show, that would be probably for me, it would be Iron Maiden, really? Was that the first one? I think so, yeah. I must have been like 13. They were doing the dance Was it the Dance of Dead or the Purgatory tour? I'm not sure which one it was, but that was a good show. I mean, Iron Maiden always puts on a good show, so you know.
Yeah, those dudes are nuts. How do they
Yeah,
how do they do it 50 years later,
I was like 11 or 12 years old. I went to this festival nearby where my parents lived and I used to live. There was a festival with Finnish bands. That was the first one, but the one that really made an impression was Iron Maiden. I saw a tour earlier than Jukka. I saw them in at Helsinki Ice Hall. They played in 1999. Bruce Dickinson had just come back to the band, and Megadeth was the warm-up band. So it was pretty cool for I guess I was 13 or 14 years old.
Man, talk about like that would be really cool to see like Megadeth and Iron Maiden together. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was cool.
My favorite thing about Bruce and seeing him perform is he has so much energy. He doesn't just stand there and sing. He's like running back and forth for
Yeah,
the
he's crazy.
Oh yeah, man. All these
Yeah.
years later, I mean, we went to see him just last year playing with his solo band, and that was like we were just talking with one of the guys in our band, Jukka, that it was one of the greatest shows in a long time in Finland. Like the energy in the crowd was like really it was a wilder show than most we get these days. Yeah.
he's coming here at Louder Than Life later this year. And
Yeah, go see
You
him.
need to go.
it's so funny. That day is like one of the days that I'm like, there's one or
Man.
two bands that I really want to see, but the rest I could like give a shit less about. Like, like I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Damn
I
it.
feel that.
But yeah, like Bruce again, Bruce is he's another really powerful vocalist, and he's been going for so long that you have to see him when he comes around. What they're talking about, were they talking about retiring? I know Nico just was like, I'm
Yeah, he
gonna
quit
retire.
touring at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because he had that stroke early last year, and
Mm.
then I think got back to a playable speed and didn't feel like he was where he should be. So he's like, yeah, I'm out. I'll just go enjoy the whatever other things I have going on.
Yeah,
Got to be a hard decision as a musician. That has been touring for many many decades to go. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, because at that point, it's probably a pretty big part of your life. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You go anywhere and they're not like, hey, you own a restaurant. Everyone's like, dude, you're a drummer for Iron Maiden. Like, not anymore.
yeah,
But I think we all wish him the best, whatever he does,
definitely.
like
oh, absolutely, for
long,
sure.
healthy life. So what does like with you guys playing out, what does like your next 12 months look like?
Yeah, we'll definitely try to get live shows. We'll be sending a lot of emails and try to shove us everywhere to play. So hopefully we'll get to play live a lot with this album. And we are already working on the next album. We've got plenty of material, a lot more than just for one album. Just have to be writing some lyrics and doing all the arrangements and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll be working on new music and try to get shows.
Rock and roll. Do you guys have any shows on the books now that are coming up?
There's a couple of shows that haven't been announced yet, but they are coming in Finland. Hopefully, we'll get to play outside of Finland too. Maybe get to play your town also one lucky day.
Do it. Do it. We got a lot of good places to play here. Where I'm at is such a really good centralized location because there's access to so many like major markets that even if a band doesn't play my town specifically, I can usually see them within like a 1 or 2 hour drive.
Yeah, you
That's
got a big
cool.
metal scene over there.
I mean, what's a big metal scene? I mean, I think it depends on a lot on the band, but like so we have this thing here at one of the bars at Mag Bar called Metal Monday, and it's for a smaller touring band. I will always say play Metal Monday. It is a built-in crowd and it gets fucking wild. Like the thing
That's
is
awesome.
it's almost sold out every Monday. So you're like, holy shit.
That's
Sounds
really
cool.
cool to have
That
a
sounds
gig
cool.
on. Yeah, in Finland, if you'd get a metal gig on Monday, it's gotta be a really big band usually if you want the audience to show up.
Yeah, I think most markets it's the same here. We just have like the community we have locally is such a awesome community. They're very supportive of, smaller, particularly like independent bands that are out and playing. So the guys, I think they've spent 8 years really building it into what it is. So it's, Metal Monday by itself has a following. You could say, hey, I'm going to just, shit on the stage and that place will almost sell out.
I've always wanted
Yeah.
to,
Show up, play a thing, take a dump, throw it at the crowd. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the old punk rocker in us coming out.
Yeah. Oh God. Those were the days. I miss throwing shit on people. No, just kidding.
yeah.
So who are you guys listening to now that has really just like holy shit, I can't get that out of my head.
Well, I'm gonna let Timo answer this one first because I'm actually having to. I've been listening to some Japanese post-rock stuff again lately, so I'm actually not sure. I've been listening to a lot of Mouse on the Keys and Toe, but I'm trying to think of some metal stuff that I've been listening to lately. But I haven't been
Doesn't
feeling
matter.
that metal lately.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you're listening to. I've been listening to a lot of like doom gaze and post metal also. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
cool.
listen to whatever. We don't have to be this is what I'm listening to. Fuck that. Whatever you're listening to, that's why we're here. Have
Well,
fun.
that's true too.
Yeah, I've been listening to mostly old bands. I'm a little bit lazy at getting into new bands. I still like all the old stuff and newer albums from the old bands too. I just went to the gym yesterday and listened to the new Sacrifice album. That was really cool.
Volume 6
Sounded
is
really good.
yeah, that is such a great album, man.
Yeah,
That
yeah, it is.
a little sad it took them 16 years, but I'm super, super happy with what they put out. I've seen a lot of people talking about that album, which is, fantastic. I mean, those guys have been around since the early 80s. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. Canadian Power.
Yeah. Yeah. And super, super nice dudes too. Love that one. Okay, Yuka. Now we're gonna bombard you with that question.
What I've been listening to. Oh man.
Yeah.
Because the ones that I just mentioned, well, Mouse on the Keys is probably the one that's been on repeat for me. They made a really good album. I think it's gotta be like almost 10 years old by now. They have an album called Triss, and for a drummer, it's just a joy to listen to. It's very, very jazz influenced, very not metal at all, like not even close.
Yeah, I've just came up with a couple of things. Can't wait for the next Dark Angel album. I guess they're trying to get it done. I don't know where it is coming, but then one important one I've been listening to lately is there's a Finnish thrash metal band called Jumalation, and I've been filling in as a guitar player for them, and they've got really cool stuff. You should check them out. They've released
Okay.
a couple of albums, and what was the last one called? Oh, I
Yeah.
can't remember the title, but anyway, really cool stuff.
Right on. I hate when I do that. Like I'm like, oh, this great album.
Yeah, can't name it. Sorry.
We'll figure it out one day. Yeah, that's cool. So Yuka, have you listened to Hiroshima?
Or Hiroshima. I have not. I'm not aware of this band at all.
So I want to say they're Swedish, I think. It's in the post-rock, post-metal vein.
All right. I'm
It
interested.
their their latest album, that I'm not gonna remember the name of,
Yeah.
We're good at that.
yeah. I would
Perfect.
say check them out because they're a tremendous band. And for me, the other two that actually there's three that are like that I can't get off. The Black is a band out of like North Kentucky or Cincinnati, Ohio area. So they're hour and a half from where I am. And they've got they're doing, I'm gonna call it an anthology, but I don't know that that's the proper term. They're writing 3 EPs and it's called Seasons, and each EP is written during a season. So far, they've had like volume 1, I think, was fall. Volume 2 was winter. Volume 3 is going to be spring, maybe. And then volume 4 will be summer. They've only got 1 and 2 out so far. It is, best way I know to describe it is just really good rock and roll.
I mean, that's an interesting concept already. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, the guys are super, super nice and great musicians. And Murphy, the vocalist, that dude's got a fucking powerful voice. I think Timo will really enjoy hearing his voice.
Cool. I have to check him out for
Yeah,
sure.
they're really, really good. The other one is like Spotlights and Psalm. They have a very similar sound, but they're like different. It's in like the doom gaze kind of vein. It's heavy, it's shoegaze, but like
Yeah.
it's powerful. Both of them are like powerful. The drummers behind it, it's not fast, but you're like you feel it. Boom, boom, right when it hits. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. What do we got? We got Blessed Black,
yeah,
Spotlights and Psalm, and Oh Hiroshima.
Hiroshima. Yep.
All right. I got to check these out.
Yeah, for sure. This is why I like having the conversations because I get to hear what you're listening to. Like, I'm going to go check that shit out and I can share also. And hopefully, some people out there go, "Oh, I like those bands too." Or, man, thanks for that introduction. Because at the end of the day, none of us are rock stars, right? We just want to have fun and talk music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, for sure. One, I have to mention one band also because we had the record release gig. There was one of my friends' band called Mutant Blast. It's another Finnish fun band. I recommend people to check that one out too.
Absolutely. If you're into thrash metal, they're a good band to check out. Definitely
Yeah,
kick-ass
that's
stuff.
that's cool. I'll definitely check that out. I'm into like obviously a little bit of everything. If it's good, it's good. I really don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Music fan before anything.
Yeah.
Genre doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
No, and it shouldn't, that shit where it's like, I don't listen to that for this reason. It's like, if you don't think it's good, I get it. But just because it's a certain like genre shouldn't
hmm
be the reason you go, no, I'm not going to listen to that. Like bullshit. You should
yeah,
absolutely like try to expand your horizons because you never know.
yep.
We live that purest stuff in the teenage years, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So funny story. My wife wanted me to go see one of her favorite artists last year. They were playing at a festival locally, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll go because I will never go to a show where that dude is just headlining by himself. Like I don't like him. Like,
All
but
right.
I'll go. So we go, and before my wife got there, I'm hanging out with one of her friends and a friend of her friend, and they're like, hey, we want to go see this band. So we walk over, and it's a country band called Red Clay Strays. And I'm like, all right, I'll go watch. And like we get there and I watched the show and it was one of like the most entertaining shows that I remember seeing. That wasn't like in the like in the metal vein. Like they were tremendous musicians and put on such a fantastic show. So literally I turned to her friend and I go, hey, um, they're fucking good. Later, and she's like, yes, they are. They're great, blah, 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 and he's cute and whatever.
Yeah, the right reasons.
Important part.
The important part. Yeah, he was really cute. So later that night, my wife shows up and we're talking, and her friend looks at her and goes, he actually liked this country band. And she goes, yeah, and she goes, well, I didn't think he listened to anything except metal. She's like, no, he listens to all kinds of shit. I'm like, yeah, I just look like I always listen to metal.
Yeah, that's the stereotype.
For sure. For sure. So let's talk about physical copies. Now, did you guys just release this on CD?
We
Yes,
did, yeah.
small amount of CDs also, 200 copies.
More as demand grows.
Any plans to do like a really small run vinyl?
Not yet, at least. It would be cool to have a vinyl for myself, maybe at some point. Haven't really thought about it too much. The idea of doing the physical release was kind of for promotional reasons. Some reviewers and some labels and so on, they still want the physical thing. So we thought that we'll do the physical copies and then we'll be selling some of them and some of them will give away for promotional.
Yeah, I assume I don't know what the cost to do a CD now is, but I assume it's still relatively affordable.
Yeah, if you sell them for a reasonable price, yeah, you'll get your money back for sure.
Right on. It's a little more expensive doing vinyl, especially like the short run vinyl, but I mean for what I would say the average cost of vinyl now is you can make your money back too, like doing 50 or 100 copies of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and vinyl's the nice. It's the cool physical collector's copy version.
Yeah.
I mean, I still listen to vinyls just because the sound quality is different. I realize it's mainly for the collection purpose, but yeah, that would be cool.
I like it for because it's an experience. When you sit down to listen to a record, it's not just putting it on and listening, especially if you get the gatefold, you're like opening it up and looking at the art and reading through all the lyrics or, just grabbing the insert with the ability to have this big tangible thing versus, a CD or, people are really like going off on the tapes right now for whatever reason.
yeah. Tapes and vinyls are kind of, it's more difficult to skip a song. So the album should be good. So you don't have to be skipping tracks too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big vinyl. Well, I'm a big vinyl guy. I know there are much more addicted vinyl people out there than me, but shit, I want more vinyl.
Yeah, I mean what you said, it is an experience. I mean, there's something like almost ceremonial about listening to a vinyl album, especially these days since it's not the default mode of listening. So it really is you have to set aside the time to listen to vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the important thing is like carving out that time so you can actually sit down and go, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna enjoy this as much as I possibly can for this hour or, whatever. So
Mhm.
I try and instill that in my kids, like, hey, make some time, listen to some records, it'll really get it. So I took my daughter out a few years ago to buy like her like first records and to see her walking out with this stack like $600 of records. She's
Oh,
like, this
that's
is
so
so
cool,
great. I'm like,
right?
yeah, take care of them. Please take care of them because that shit's expensive.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a different culture because if you listen to buy records, it means that you should be a little more committed to listening to them rather than if you just use Spotify or something, a lot of people use that as this kind of like a fast food kind of culture of like, yeah, here's a cool track. Oh, I'm bored of that. Listen to 10 seconds of something and go on. And it's a different thing than having an actual thing.
It's very, very different. I like Spotify for like because I use it similar to like tape trading. Like if I find a really good artist, I find it on Spotify and send it to everyone I possibly can. Like, check these guys out. This is really fucking cool.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I definitely I listen to it all the time. But that's the default mode of listening to music these days, for me at least. I'm almost always on a train or on a bus or just walking somewhere, and it's just something's playing on the background. So it's actually listening to an album on my couch and not doing anything else. I almost never do that these days, which is a shame, but I
I
should
know,
get
but
back to it.
it's so special when you're able to carve that time out because I assume life for you guys is very similar to us. We're like always on the go.
Yeah.
There's not a okay, I worked my 6 hours, 8 hours today, and the rest of the day I can just sit in front of my TV or listen to a record. It's like always something happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
can agree to that.
Yeah. So what was the first record you guys bought?
Oh, I think mine might have been. Wait, was it? It was either Smash by Offspring or Mondo Bizarro by the Ramones. It was one of those two. I'm almost certain. At least they're the oldest looking CDs I have in my.
If I remember correctly, it was American Psycho by Misfits.
That's funny. You guys playing metal and the first albums you bought were punk. That's great.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Now I like that though. I think it's really cool because it was like you were opened up to something that was not, this nice polished like awesome metal, like the Ramones. They weren't polished at all. They just did their thing, their minute and a half, 2 minute songs and moved on and like
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Mondo Bizarro still, it's just such a great record. I haven't listened to it in years. I should put it on probably after this interview.
like shit, I'm gonna go listen to it now.
Exactly.
I think the first album I remember like buying with my own money was Motley Crue Girls, Girls, Girls.
All
Oh,
right.
Yeah, that was they had there was a was that the one with that Elvis cover on it?
If I
I think it was.
yeah, yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't remember the album so well. I've listened to it at some point, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was my dad was like, "That's what you're getting?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, that's what I'm getting." He's like, "All right, I guess." And it's so sad because that was that album. I was like, "Man, this is such a great album." And now like I'm like, "No, I don't want to go see them live." Like not at all. Like
Yeah, I saw them for a little bit at a Finnish festival, Rockfest, a couple of years ago, and it was not something that I wanted to see.
yeah.
I watched a song or two, and then I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
They
Leppard was also playing, and they put on a. I guess they were touring together at some point. Def Leppard was definitely better.
Yeah, I hear, I don't know, like we were gonna try and watch them at Louder Than Life last year, but they kicked us off the stage. So it was like, yeah, cool. I don't want to wait. We'll just leave. So we left.
Yeah.
It was terrible. We did watch Disturbed, and like I'm not a big Disturbed fan. I won't turn it on the radio. I will turn it off if it comes on like Spotify or whatever. I'm like, it's just not my thing. But those guys absolutely like they are fantastic performers. I would 100% go see them again.
Oh, I can
Okay.
definitely believe that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've been doing it for a while. I mean, there must be a reason why they're so popular. It's not
Yeah.
my number one band either, but it's if you do a great show, you do a great show.
Yeah. I think that's why I like to see people going out to shows is like whether you like the band or not, if you can take the time to go see them live, you might be absolutely surprised at the level that those guys are as musicians and performers. I mean, it's my favorite thing is live shows.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes it can actually it can get you on the track to liking a band. I mean, actually, Opeth for me
Opeth.
is one of those bands that interestingly enough, since all their songs are like 10 minutes or so, or were back then at least, they're not exactly known for being like a live band,
Yeah.
especially. But when I saw them at a festival playing like 5 songs, because that's all they have time for in an hour, it actually got me on the track like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Now I understand what you guys have been telling me because I'd
Yeah.
listened to them on record before and I never really got into it because Teenage Mind, it was a little bit too complex for me, but then I got into the vibe.
Yeah. But I do that. I did that last year with a band. They were playing a festival I was going to. So like before I thought, oh, I'm going to listen to them so I get an idea. So I tried to listen to them and for whatever reason, it just didn't like click. And I'm like, I'll watch them because I'm there. Like whatever. It'll be fun, I'm sure. And the live show absolutely blew me away. Like, holy shit. But then, at that point, I could go back and actually listen to them because it was like, I got it now. I know what this is about versus like, I mean, it's okay, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a switch turns on in your brain after you get the live energy from the band.
Yeah, I love that. Again, that's why I like live shows because you don't know. It's a band can do really good in a studio and it doesn't translate to the stage. Other times it just doesn't click. Like the recording, you're like, I mean, it's okay, right? But then their live show, you're like, holy shit, that's it. This
Yeah.
is, how do you guys feel your live show compares to your recordings?
I mean, I know for me, I definitely play better live than in the studio. I know that for a fact.
Hell yeah.
I think that it's really cool to play live. I love to play live, and I think that we're really good live. Tommy, our bass player, did like recorded the show where we were playing the full album and sounded. I was surprised how good it sounded. We've got a lot of energy going on. I feel really confident about our band as a live band.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean there's something about the energy you get when the audience is digging it and you're kind of just partying with your instruments and just having a good time. It's easier to have a good time when people are actively like responding to it. Like in
Yeah.
the studio you don't exactly get that, so you have to close your eyes and imagine that feeling of playing to an audience.
Well, and the
Yeah, and
audience energy isn't there at the studio either. You know,
Yeah,
just
no,
it's a real good like back when there's a good band and a good crowd like that. The I think the atmosphere is it's second to none. You know, the band's really like just in the pocket, tearing it up, and the crowd's totally into it. It's like, holy fuck, yeah,
yeah, it's one of those experiences. Yeah, you just have to be there to, to get the experience.
for
It
sure.
doesn't translate to video that well.
Right. It's really hard, but that's, for a lot of bands, back in the 80s and 90s, that was how a lot of people had to experience them live is just by video. Like, damn, I bet that was wild, especially seeing people like jump off the fucking platforms and shit. What was that?
Yeah.
That's good shit. Okay. Timo, Yuka, thank you both very much for coming and hanging out and chatting with me today. I've had a lot of fun.
Me
I'm
too.
here.
Thanks for having us. This was pretty great. This was a
Hell yeah.
nice chat about metal and music.
Yeah. Like gotta have fun. Can't have fun, then we're doing something wrong, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right.
That's what
Uh,
music is all about. So,
100%. Like and I wish that's one of my favorite things about like the metal community particularly. Like you go there and everyone's there for the same reason. They're there for
absolutely.
the band. It nothing in the outside world matters inside. Like,
That's exactly it. Yeah.
hell yeah. Well, guys, go have yourselves a great night and let's stay in touch.
Yeah.
Cheers. Let's
Good
see you
night,
again.
man.
Hell
See
yeah.
you,
See
hopefully.
ya. Yeah, you will for sure.